We are nowhere near where we need to be yet.
Coming into this, there's a lot of disappointment, a lot of dire warnings that we are way off mark, the global targets that we've set, keeping global warming to 1.5 degrees.
I'm a bit hesitant to use this success-failure language, I guess. I think the worst thing that we can do is to just give up.
Clear that we will need trillions of dollars of investment every year.
Trillions of dollars, Heather, he says, and we're not even at 100 billion. So you can see the kind of challenge that lies ahead for all these leaders and negotiators in town. Talking about the urgency, calling this the decisive decade. And you pointed out that he said the action that needs to be taken is a moral imperative. But what's interesting is he added that it is also an economic imperative. I think that is COP26. Let me show you. Right here it says 1.5 to stay alive. That is the mantra of this summit. But is it really a win if some of the major sources and production countries that rely on coal, like the United States, Australia, India, China, won't be signing on to this as far as we know?
Many of their economies.
Absolutely. And this is the conundrum, I think, that is the reason why this is 2 weeks of discussions. How do you negotiate balancing the economic needs of a country versus the climate goals? And yes, so some 20 countries so far have committed to defunding, to stop funding overseas fossil fuel productions. Because some people are saying, look, it's great if you do that for your country, but what about other countries? You are still polluting. And just to add context to COP26 happening at a moment when energy prices are rising to very high levels, and also a new report coming out, the Global Carbon Report, that emissions next year projected to rise to pre-pandemic levels. And scientists are saying that's the very reason why results coming from COP26 are even more urgent and important. Heather?
Tessa Arcilia, thank you very much.
Among the crowd, a familiar face.
We don't need any more empty promises.
The International Energy Agency today said that if all the commitments made at COP were fulfilled to the last detail, John, we are actually at keeping global warming to 1.8 degrees. But that's if we stick to the path. More than 100 countries are committing to ending and reversing deforestation by 2030. And what's important to note are these countries include Brazil, Indonesia, and the Congo Basin countries. The point he made there are many different ways of putting a price on pollution. And he did say that it is important to come up with a global standard. That is getting everybody on the same footing so that there is equity in how they measure pricing of carbon. He made yesterday that Canada is committing to putting a hard cap on emissions from the oil and gas sector.
You might as well bomb our islands instead of making us suffer only to witness our slow and fateful demise. Leaders of the G20, we are drowning, and our only hope is the life ring you are holding.
The British Chancellor said this is about rewiring the entire global financial system. And, you know, we've been covering COP26 from within those walls of the conference venue, and now it's time to listen to what the people have to say and what they think about the promises made. People here believe that there is power in mass movement, but they also know that there's only so much they can do as individuals. Change, they say, should come from the top. Policy changes that will in turn change the system.
Just that we're not being listened to, and this is our future. This is our planet that I'm going to grow up on, and if it's not here in a healthy state, just what do we do?
I would like to not be protesting outside of COP and have faith that, you know, the world leaders are actually going to do something that is seriously going to make a dent in climate change. But I'm not optimistic. And
You were a climate activist before?
I still am a climate activist. I was those kids 25 years ago at the first conference of parties in Berlin, calling on governments to do more.
What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it?
Small but powerful voices.
I want you to stay angry. I want you to stay frustrated. But channel that anger. Harness that frustration. Keep pushing harder and harder for more and more.